Awesome. So, welcome everyone to day 19 of Story Spark session. And in this week, we are working on different elements of a great story. So, today's element is I call it the second most important element in a story, and that is conflicts. So, conflicts is something that makes a story worth listening, worth watching, worth experiencing. So if you don't have a conflict in your story, it makes it really boring, and it's basically not a story but a series of events. And in today's exercise, in today's session, we are going to look at your stories, we are going to look at types of conflict, and then you're going to pick up one of your stories. And from that story, you're going to mention what is the conflict, and then you're going to only focus on the conflict part of it, and then we'll do the story sharing, and we'll end as usual with three affirmation of the day. So what are the different types of conflict? So there are many types of conflict. Number one is man versus self. It's basically a lot of times when we think about the doubt, that fears, the imposter syndrome, and so on, so other thing, which is there's no nothing external involved. It's all we working with ourselves. We are having issues with ourselves. Is one kind of conflict which is called man versus self. The other kind of conflicts is where you have more than one person involved, which is when you have arguments, when you have betrayal, rejection. So that's where man versus man or person versus person kind of conflict. The third kind of conflict is when you have man versus society. So think of it as Gandhi's story, right? Gandhi was against the whole British Empire, so that is breaking norms, or you face judgment from everyone. Anybody is trying to do something different from society. That is where the man versus society type of conflict happens. The next one is man versus system. So you have injustice, bureaucracy, red tape, so on and so forth. So when you are against a man or someone is against a system, that is called the man versus system type of conflict. And the last one here is man versus nature or circumstances. So whenever you have illness, accident, fate, natural calamity, earthquake, that is where the conflict is between man versus nature or circumstances. So these are the top five. There are others as well, but these are the main types of conflict. Now, why I'm sharing is because sometimes we don't even know what kind of conflict we are having in our stories, and that is where when you are not clear, then your audience is definitely not clear. So today's exercise is going to be you are going to look at or think about a story you recently told or you want to tell, and analyze the type of conflict used. And what we're going to do is we're not going to share the whole story, but you are going to analyze the story. You're going to look at the conflict, and I want you to do take the conflict and escalate it. For example, if there was a problem, how the problem became bigger and bigger until something changes. So just focus on that particular part of it. So we're gonna do again 1.5 minutes of journaling where you look at only one story, look at type of conflict, and take it from where it starts to where it goes to the peak. Alright, so let's get into that. I'm gonna share the music now. Start writing. Last 30 seconds. Alright, time's up. Okay, let's start with Alkaji. So tell us about the type of conflict used in your story and tell us how you're taking it to the peak.
To the peak. No, so this is a very simple problem in my life that the conflict is that my husband and I have always been on the same page, and we have always aligned ourselves with each other's thoughts. I'm always supportive of him, and he's always supportive of me, and that's why we have managed to go for 42 years of our marriage. Now, since the last few years, he has become very supportive of the children, and somehow I tell him that the only way that the children can become independent is that you have to push them in the water and they will start swimming. And he doesn't agree with that. He says they may get drowned. I said, no, they will not get drowned. If they have to survive, they will. So I think the conflict is not with me and my husband's thoughts. The conflict is me with myself. That why can't I accept what my husband is saying? And sometimes I feel I cannot accept it because my values are different. I was not taught like that. I was brought up like to become independent, and I did not take any support from my parents or from my in-laws when I newly married and I wanted to make my house. So I feel that supporting children every step of their life makes them very dependent, and that's the conflict that I have with my husband. And I'm still working on it, and the only way that I can solve it is that I can accept it the way he thinks is right and go with it. That's what I'm thinking right now. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, this is very deep because you have conflict inside conflict. So you have one conflict which is man versus man or person versus person. But as you said, the deep layer of it is you have a conflict with yourself. That is the person versus self. So beautiful. And yes, not all conflicts get solved immediately. It takes time also. So thank you for sharing that and story power to you. Everybody type SPTY and let's go to now Venkat.
Good
Please.
morning to all. Uh,
Good morning, Venkat.
Recently, I researched myself about my thoughts. In this, I came to Japan. The reason is I was very um, pleasure to move here. But the concept, the reason, background reason is Japan is a very lot of advertisements came from social media about Japan. So that's the reason.
Our next speaker is Haritosh
Come again, sorry. There was something playing in the background.
Hmm.
Srivastav with a speech
Go ahead.
entitled
Yeah, I'll just
Deep
try to find out
Yes.
where exactly is this playing.
Haritosh Srivastav,
Okay, got it.
Deep I Sin.
हरितोष का लेक्चर है.
Yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead. Sorry.
Working in abroad, it's benefit only mainly to that is employer, not employee.
Mm-hmm.
Here we don't get a distraction, so it directly goes to productivity, increase productivity, and get benefit to employer. We are not getting attachment here, so our productivity is increased. We don't think about anything, so it all goes to employer. We cannot take any leave. We cannot speak with friends or family members with the phone also within the office. So it all increase the productivity. It all get finally benefit to employer. So directly deputing from India to abroad is mostly benefit to employer. But in my opinion, previously it was it both get benefited. But now I feel it is mainly benefited to employer, because now I am not getting leave as per my employment contract. I am not getting leave because they said the project is in peak, so we cannot take a leave. Even casual leave, sick leave, we cannot take any leave in abroad. So that's my conflict. Thank you.
Right. So what do you think is which kind of conflict is this?
My previous assumption was both get benefited, and
No, no,
now
no. Sorry to interject. If you look at this particular slide, which I
man was mind.
man versus man or man versus system.
System, man was system.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Story power to you as well. So it's very important to identify conflict because that's when people will understand the pain and challenges that you're facing. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Dinesh now.
Thank you. I remember my olden days. My classmate was Bengali, and once he invited me, दिनेश हमारे घर में आओ पूजा है और फिर भोजन है आई फेल्ट वेरी हैप्पी दैट उसके घर में भोजन मीन्स खाना खाने का है सो आई वेंट टू हर हाउस एंड then there was a puja, all those things carried on. I was worrying when the dinner will start, when the dinner will start. And there was no dinner at all. I asked, I, I called her and said, what about the dinner? हाँ हम डिनर का तुमको नहीं बोला हम बोला पूजा है और भोजन है ये भोजन है ना ये भोजन हो रहा है मैं बोला, अरे भगवान so that
Awesome.
was the history I
Very
remember.
humorous. Very humorous. But yeah, understanding again, I think it will be again man versus man, interpreting each other's language and culture. Yes. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. Story power to you. Bhajan versus Bhojan. Very interesting. Awesome. So now we have done the story sharing. Let's also quickly go ahead and share why do you think understanding conflict is so important when it comes to storytelling? So we'll take about 30 seconds each. Let's start with Dr. Alka.
So conflict, unless and until you know what the problem is, how are you going to sort it out?
Absolutely.
It's by blaming, by making excuses, by reasoning it in different ways is not going to help. And most of us, we are looking for a person in our life to blame it on someone else, to unload it on someone else. But that's not the solution. The solution is only come from within yourself when you start thinking about it. Whatever the conflict may be, whether it is man versus nature, man versus anything. Even a tsunami, when it destroys you, you can't blame the tsunami. There is something else which is happening in your own life. There's a tsunami going on in every human being, and there's a
Yep.
Kurukshetra going on in every human being. There's an Arjun. So I think understanding the conflict is so important, and I really want to share within half a second that Dinesh ji has understood my conflict very well, and yesterday he has written to me. He has sent me one story which he has crafted for me, and the story is out of the world. I may be allowed to share it with you later, but I'm there's a
Please.
yeah, where he has sent me a audio of that. So thank you so much, Dinesh ji. And this platform is coming out to be a very beautiful platform where we are sharing our conflicts and getting solutions for our conflicts. So thank you, Haritosh,
Absolutely,
for everything that
absolutely.
yeah.
This community as good as the member. So I am very very grateful to all of you for being part of the community and sharing. And Dinesh ji, you can share with all of us. Don't worry too much. We are not judgmental people, so you can share if you want to. I think you shared in the group also, and then you retracted or something like that. So feel free to share in the group also. Awesome. So Venkat, why do you think is conflict so important when it comes to storytelling and communication?
Conflict that creates a hook, and people are love to listen the crisis, because they
Mm,
also have the same, so
yes.
they connect each other. And in all my story I have also conflict, but it was hidden, and I cannot articulate. That is, I feel now Dinesh ji shared that their conflict in humorous way. So articulation is important, and uh, so that is I missed, and I need to practice in my hidden conflict.
That's why we have this daily story spark session now. Awesome. Yes, Dinesh ji, what is your take on why conflicts are so important in a storytelling?
My biggest takeaway, if I see, is you should able to observe what you are doing. And second thing is, what is the outcome?
Yes.
So I always in my which I started the series Sukrat ke Safalta ke Sutra.
Yes, very
Always
interesting.
ask what will be the outcome. And in Tony Robbins, one of the speech he has very clearly said, before you speak anything, try to ask yourself what you are expecting. So for
Absolutely.
today's session, this was fantastic. I loved all the points.
Thank you. Awesome. So yes, when we are telling story, as they say, conflicts are the engines of stories. So when you have great engine, the stories are more powerful, and that is why when we know what the problem, what the challenges, what the stakes are out there, we are able to better articulate, and we are able to make our audience feel as well. Right. So a quick tip for storytelling or conflict is that do not rush the tension. Do not be in a hurry that, oh, I have to tell a conflict in 30 seconds. No. Let them feel that. Let them see how. It's just like frog in the boiled water. Let them understand what is the implication, why it is so painful, why you're going through challenges. Because when then the resolution come, which is what we are going to cover tomorrow, people will be able to see the real change in that. So that's what we'll be covering tomorrow. Now let's go through the favorite part, which is having three affirmation. And I have the three affirmations ready, so I will start with affirmation, and please follow. So the affirmation, first affirmation is, my conflicts are my story's power.
My conflicts are my story's power.
Wow.
Every struggle faced adds depth,
It's
strength, and soul to my
so
story.
my story. Every
Every
struggle
struggle
faced
faced
adds
adds
depth,
depth, strength,
strength, and
and my
soul to
soul
my
to my
story.
story.
Awesome. And the last one for today is, I share my challenges with courage, and it connects me to audiences' hearts.
Beautiful.
Share
I
my
share
I
my
share my
challenges with
challenges with
courage and
courage, and it
connects me
connects
to
me to
audience
audience hearts.
heart.
Awesome. So, story power to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great, amazing weekend, and I'll see you all tomorrow for day 20 of Story Spark session. Take care, stay safe, and stay blessed.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
so much.